What's happening, y'all? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers. Every couple of weeks, you can look forward to a quick inspirational message or a thought-provoking guest with knowledge and wisdom, all geared towards helping you be the best father that you can be. We're bringing the village to you. Now it's your turn to do something with what you learned. All right, y'all. Let's go. Yo, what's happening, y'all? On today's episode, you all are really going to be a fly on the wall of a conversation that I had with a good friend of mine. My man is Dr. James Williams. He's actually a professor at the University of Tennessee, but he is also the founder of an organization or company called Unmask Your True Potential. And you can definitely check him out. Unmask Your True Potential or Unmask YTP on virtually every social media platform, or unmaskytp.com, and really check him out. But listen into this conversation, fellas. Some good insight regarding fatherhood, regarding life, regarding just us as black men, and how to deal with being fathers. And so without further ado, y'all listen in to our conversation while we had lunch at Whole Foods and we're just chopping it up. All right, holla.
So I ask people every day, all right, so are you focused on what you did yesterday? They'll say, I'm forgetting the past because it was, I made a mistake. And I say, but why are you still dwelling on the fact that you scored 5 touchdowns in a high school football game? Oh, okay, that was a great memory. Man, forget that too. Even if you want an award yesterday, forget that. It's about how are you being the best today. And if you can focus on being better than your best every single day, that's what life is about.
And that's the whole core focus of Unmasked.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting. And it's funny. And see, I'm recording this now because I wanted to hear you just talk about that, because it is a conversation. Because and then you mentioned the whole premise of so many people spoke into your life, and you feel it's your duty to give back. I'm the same way. Like I was a cat that grew, like, I have not an interesting story, but it's one of those things where when you stop and you think about it, it's like everything is kind of setting up for something else.
Absolutely.
Okay, I grew up where education was huge. Like that was big in our family. You know what I'm saying? Both my parents went to college. 3 out of 4 of my grandparents went to college. 2 out of 4 have master's degrees, which in the 1940s and 50s for black folks in the South was just like crazy. My one grandparent who didn't go to college was drafted into the military, did 30 years, retired as command sergeant major, 2 Purple Hearts, 3 war, all that kind of stuff. And my grandmother who didn't finish college was the one that married him. You know what I'm saying? So when you stop and you think about it, education was big. Both my parents went to college. My mom has an educational doctorate. So we grew up in a household where it was one of those things where you're not talking like if you're going to go to school. It's like, yo, what do y'all want to major in? You're going.
That's right.
It was like the expectation. But then another perspective of that is, on the other end, I also grew up in a household where there was drug abuse being very rampant. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't grow up in the projects, but I had an experience, where, something might have happened with the car, or the TV, or somebody not showing up for games and not being there, and being there but not present in your life. So I saw the whole notion of drug abuse in my household as well. So I had this whole high achieving academic whatever, but then the flip side of that is I had a life in which drug abuse was right there in my face, 24/7, from the time I was a little boy to actually this present day. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that's something that's been there. So I've seen that. So it's interesting, to your point, you talk about your goal with Unmask Your True Potential is all about all these people poured into you. That's the same thing with me. I had uncles and cousins and Boy Scout leaders and community leaders and church members, all these different folks would come and pick me up and take me here, or go to this camp and go to that camp. All these folks kind of poured into my life. So for me, the whole goal of giving is 100%. You got to roll?
No.
Okay. The whole notion of giving is more than just, I have something cool to say. It's like a duty. Because without that, yes, we still might have gone, my brothers and I might have still gone to college or whatever, but we would not be where we are today without all those other folks pouring into our life. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, man. And the funny thing with that is that So people bring me in on these black panels. I'm telling you this, man. So, and I know why they bring it in, because I'm black and they expect me to be like, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter and all this. But a lot of people that poured in me, they didn't look like that. And I think God did it on a reason.
That's right.
So I would tell people that say, so how do you feel? I say, man, I love all people, man. I'm really trying to love like Jesus. And they said, oh, so you don't recognize racism? I said, I recognize it, but I recognize it's man-made. And they said, so what you mean by that? I said, this is what I mean. All white people was not even considered white. I said, 1790, go back, study the Naturalization Act. A lot of them had to earn their right to be free white people. I said, a lot of us were brainwashed with this white and black. I said, as if it makes you any better or worse or whatever. I said, and on the flip side, a lot of us black people, we buy into it too. And we think we're inferior. I said, so when we look at why black people act out, because in that environment, you feel like that's all you got, the streets. It's the only place where I can represent and people look at me of value, because when I go to school, they don't look at me like that. Or my parents been telling me, well, you're not smart, baby, but you can be a good athlete. But we don't want to take responsibility for that as a race. I said, so a lot of these people, man, they saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. But once I saw it in myself, I realized it wasn't their color talking to me. So every day I wake up, man, I wake up with the notion that if God allowed me to live and see another day, it's my duty to give everything I have into every situation. And this is what I tell you, even if I'm doing wrong, I have done wrong, still was representing Christ in that situation. And that's what people don't understand. They think, well, as long as I'm doing right, then that's when I represent God. No, even when you're doing wrong, you acknowledge that it's God that's still there. It's you that's choosing to do wrong. I don't know if that makes sense to you, man.
It makes a lot of sense.
So it's like, I see people, man, and I know they say, oh, so you colorblind? No, I'm not colorblind. Yeah, I see that you have taught me that this is a white person, but I do see that that spoon is white, they're not white. I see that my skin is brown. I'm not black, this is black. You know what I mean? So why do we even think like that? What is the benefit of it?
It's interesting.
You know what I mean? So
it's interesting. I mean, and it's interesting you say that, because a lot of us, to your point, I think it's a fixation with wanting to put people in buckets. And whether it be right or wrong, I think a lot of times we want to get put in buckets solely so that we can easily, basically so we can easily identify and connect with people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
It's like you want to say what school you went to so we can easily connect on the sports team, or we say we're from a certain area of the country so we can easily identify with, oh, we have sweet tea and y'all got tea, you got to add sugar to, or, you know, so many different things that I think we do just so that we can easily group people together and easily categorize. But the flip side of that is there are things of certain categories that I think empower people as well. So I think to that point, being able to look in the mirror and recognize that I'm black and see the power in that from the experience perspective, because then I can connect with the other brothers who look like me and have had different experiences. I can then kind of pull from that.
Absolutely.
And identify with, build on, and find the value in versus it just being, you know, kind of like a negative connotation of you're this way and I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I agree.
And because I mean, long story short, I created this podcast called Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers, and the whole point of it specifically is to be more targeted in my focus, so I can specifically talk to brothers who have a different experience. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, regardless of socioeconomic background and all that kind of stuff, there are different people just due to your racial makeup. You're going to have a different experience.
Absolutely.
And so I want to basically bring value to brothers in that sense. You know, because for one, I don't believe there's a lot of stuff out there that's specifically geared towards, you know, fatherhood for people who look like you or not. But then the flip side of that is it goes back to the notion of duty. Like, to your point about those that poured into my life, everybody was not black that poured into my life, but I see it as an opportunity to take what I've learned to then transfer it over to folks who look like me, who might not have those connections that I had growing up, for those that pour into their life, to enrich and realize that we're all equal. We're all on the same playing field, so to speak.
I see what you're saying.
Does that kind of make
No, that makes sense, because basically you're saying that I'm not looking at it solely as a black and white thing, but that you do acknowledge the fact that certain black individuals, they're not privy to some of the things that we are, or that we are exposed to now. So those resources, so you're going back, giving those resources just to enhance their lives, but at the same time letting them know that, look, I understand that you're black, and I understand that some people are white. But don't buy into all of this idea. Go out and make choices on your own, and don't just get caught up in this struggle of black and white type of thing. Even though you acknowledge you're aware that it's there. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so that makes sense, man. And to me, it's just like, I hear people. I hear all types of people saying crazy things. I'm just like, oh, you really believe that, right? Like I hear a white person was talking to me, and they said, because I had to educate them, man. Like they said something like, all black people this. I said, you do realize that all black people don't live in the projects.
That's right.
I said, my son would never know what the projects is like. I said, never been in a fist fight. I said, majority, 90% of our neighborhood is white. I said, and actually, it was pretty similar to my neighborhood, the first neighborhood that I grew up in. I said, except for it was poor, but it was 90% white. I said, it just happened to be up north. I said, so it was different. You know, that creates its own, its own little world within the world. I said, but the black culture have a lot of microcosms. I said, but what we try to
not
do,
monolithic at all.
Exactly. I said, but what people try to do is, let's take the negative that we see and associate it to all of it.
You know, it's interesting you say that. That's what is so fascinating about it, and that's why you have to get to know people. Because, to your point, there are so many different moving parts that one characteristic does not. You can't take one characteristic and extrapolate it across a whole group of people. You know what I'm saying? People believe different things. They have different socioeconomic situations.
Absolutely.
Some people are married, some people aren't. You got folks from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. So many different things.
Absolutely.
So you can't take one characteristic and extrapolate it across all.
Absolutely.
And say that, this describes all. And truthfully, if we're honest about it, we can't do that about any group of people.
We really can't.
Any racial, any religious group, anything. You
Absolutely.
can't take that one thing and say this describes all.
Absolutely.
And so it gives me pause when anybody says all so and so. I'm just like the moment somebody says all,
you're like, man,
I'm just like,
really?
hold up, man.
Really?
You can poke holes in that 100% because nothing describes all.
That's right.
That's probably not the right way to say it.
No, but the thing is, it's no absolutes.
That's right.
And statistics teach you that. So when you're talking about something, you're saying this sample population, it's a representation of the population. But what population are you talking about? So if you want to say that this black guy identified with who I am, in what sense? Are you saying because we look alike? Okay, so then you got to look at a lot of other different variables. What is the education background? Where is socioeconomics? Where do they live at? What have they been exposed to? Because so that alone is going to alter behavior. But we just, a lot of times people play the observer. We look at the actions and we say, that's who they are. Instead of digging deeper and trying to really empathize and getting to know, so what are your experiences? Like, what's going on? And then when you start seeing that and you put yourself in their shoes, it creates a different story. So what I think we need to do, and what I see you doing as a black person, is you're trying to change the narrative. Because if we want to say that we go to a redneck country and say this is how all white people act, I'd be a fool if I believed that. And they would be upset if we said this is a representation of them. So then when we get angry and you want to say everybody in Chicago act like that, no, what part of Chicago are you looking at? And then you want to look at what opportunities are you giving these people in Chicago?
That's right.
What is there? You got people that seeing people shot, post PTSD, they're dealing with that. They seeing bodies and drug dealing and rape and all of this stuff every single day. And you asking these people to be sane? Well, you put yourself in that situation. Or better yet, put your kids in there and expect them to be great. But you will argue like hell if your child was in a situation like that. That's why they argue over speed bumps, or they argue over things that's going on in their neighborhood. Because they don't want their kids exposed to certain things, because they know the impact psychologically that it can have. So if you know that, how can you basically demonize black kids or Latino kids or even poor white kids that come from these environments? It just doesn't make sense.
Interesting. And I guess now a question would be, because you're a father. Okay, you're a father too. You have four. Yeah, a father of four. How do we, as fathers, as black fathers, how do we add value to that situation?
I think, to me, man, teaching the history. Like, I think we students in school, they don't understand African proverbs. They don't understand the heritage. They don't understand that we weren't just walking around like apes and stuff like this and just walking around naked. They don't realize we was kings and queens. So I think teaching that, but teaching it from a perspective to where they really buy into it. Because I think they've been brainwashed so long, they believe it's BS. They don't believe in that. They don't believe we was kings and queens. Because they look at over here, we're nothing. We're like peasants. So we got to really teach the narrative and then teach that It's no such thing as we shouldn't be first in anything because we're wise. Like it shouldn't be no first doctors or this is the first person to do this. No. People been doing this for years. We just now getting credit for some of this stuff. You know what I mean? So if we can teach that and make them feel proud about the struggle, I like the fact that I'm black and that nothing was easy. So teach them that it's honoring that you shouldn't want to be privileged. Why? Because let's just be honest. If this is the fall of Rome, which I can see American fall, some people are going to blow their brains out because this is all they ever knew, and they're afraid. I never blow my brains out, man. You know what I've dealt with and been through? So that's strength, that's character, that's attitude. And if we can teach that, look what you was able to deal with and look how you was able to overcome it. Or just spot out different things in your environment. They may be looking at you because of the way you look. That's okay though. That's okay. And teach them how, don't be angry about it because of certain things in their environment that's not fair.
That's right.
You may have some people that's privileged or like this lady here. She may have this kid, her husband work all the time and just buy her and she got to work out and look good for him. But he may not care nothing about her. But
everybody has their own journey.
Exactly.
Everybody has their own struggles.
Exactly.
That's right.
I got friends that grew up in wealthy households. Never ever had a real conversation with their parents because they were chasing money. Is that fair? And people say, well, at least they have money. Money does not make you happy. And when you have money, you realize it doesn't make you happy.
That's right.
So if everybody's looking for love, peace, and happiness, why are we not trying to give that to everybody? So I think just showing people that the world is never going to be fair. Accept your little lot in life.
That's
Make
right.
the most of it.
That's right. That's right. Make the most of it. Fertilizer's made out of poop, right?
Exactly. Exactly, right?
It's amazing, man. And so unmask your true potential. So, like, when did you found that? When did that start?
So to me, man, honestly, I was in class teaching, and I saw this girl.
How long ago?
This was 2007.
Okay.
This guy grabbed his girl butt. And you could tell she felt uncomfortable, but she didn't say that. So I pulled him out in the classroom and talked to him. And when I talked to her, it was like she didn't want him to do it, but she didn't want to come off as not being cool, or snitching or whatever. And I was like, dang, like you're willing, and what registered in my mind, you're willing to let somebody violate you just to fit in. And then I said, it's no different than what I was doing. I wanted to be a drug dealer. I wanted to be a thug. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to chase girls just to fit in. But it's no different than some people that choose religion. They don't really believe in God. They don't even know God. But they go every single day because they just want to fit in. And they don't want to question and really try to explore their relationship with God. So they're living a lie. You got people that choose careers that they hate, but they do it because they want to appear prestigious or make a certain amount of money or not let go of a certain group of friends. They're in relationships. They have friendships that they know are not good for them, but they stay in it because it's their comfort zone. They don't want to get away from it. So they're living a lie. They're masked. And I thought about what this doctor said to me, Dr. Christensen, that I used to work with. He said, man, I hate this. He was a dentist. And I said, you hate what? He said, man, I hate being a dentist. I said, man, you just came out of residency. Like, you just started. What, you been in school, like 16 years? You're like 15. And I was like, dang, so what would you do? And he was like, I wanted to be a journalist. And I said, why you didn't become a journalist? He said, well, when I told my father and my grandfather, when I was at the kitchen table, they laughed at me.
Were they dentists as well?
One was an orthopedic surgeon, one was a neurosurgeon.
Wow.
I said, so they still laughed at you because you're a DDS. They're like, yeah, they still tease me on it. I said, so you chose something and they still pick fun on you. I said, so at least you got your wife and everything. He said, man, I hate her too. And I was like, why you hate her? He said, she probably married me because I'm a dentist. So what I realized, when you live a lie, your whole life become a lie.
Wow.
And you wear that mask.
Wow.
And once you remove that mask, yeah, you're going to lose some things, yeah, that hurt. But now you're walking in your truth. You're liberated.
Wow.
So we got a lot of slaves walking around that think they're free. And that's the scary part. But once you're truly liberated, you realize that it doesn't matter what people think. Will certain things hurt? Yeah. But you're free. And you don't have to be in that matrix that we talk about anymore. You know what I mean? So to me, that's what unmasking really is. And you see a world of potential, like acting and all this stuff that happened, it just come to you. Because you're living free and you're just pursuing whatever your spirit leads you to do.
The mask is off.
The mask is off, man. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, but it means that you're free. You're free in your spirit. And you can control your flesh as much as possible, man.
If folks wanted to hear more about what you got going on, what's the best place for them to check you out?
Website, www.unmaskytp.com or Instagram, Unmask YTP. My Twitter handle is Unmask YTP. My LinkedIn, it's Dr. James Dr. Williams. But everything that I pretty much have is Unmask YTP. My YouTube. So I keep that same kind
Unmask
of thing.
YTP. Unmask YTP. Unmask your true potential.
Absolutely. Because I want people to really, really understand that it got to become who you are. Live it, love it, breathe it every second of the day, man. Just being who you really are meant to be on this earth.
That's what's up. And you're currently a professor at UT, right?
Yeah.
What department are you in?
So I'm in retail, hospitality, tourism management.
Okay.
I teach human resource management,
Okay.
legal issues, and professional development.
Okay. University of Tennessee. That's what's up, man. Dude, and this is very. I wasn't scheduling this, but I brought my thing because I figured you were gonna drop something on me, so I would just push record, and we're just sitting here listening.
Yo, that was some fire, wasn't it, y'all? Now check this out. You got to know your history. You got to know your history. That's one of the things that James mentioned for Black fathers to help us to be the best that we can be is to know our history, but then also to teach our kids our history. That's definitely one. But then also in life, like Unmask YTP emphasizes, we have to take the mask off and we have to be who we are called to be in life. We have to do that, fellas. So I hope you got a lot from this episode, man. Definitely check out blackfathersnow.com. Follow Black Fathers Now on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And don't forget to also check out James, his website, unmaskytp.com, and let him know that you heard about him on the Black Fathers Now podcast. But fellas, until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise, and I'll holla at you. Peace. Yo, fellas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And always, always, always visit blackfathersnow.com, as well as follow Black Fathers Now on virtually every social media platform you can think of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Just follow us and engage with us, man. Look forward to hearing from you. And I guess until next time, I'll holla at you. Peace.